Okay, Brother Alstead.
Yeah. Sita contacted me and mentioned Mumbayachi about their project. We have done a lot of collaboration with Mumbayachi, and I was happy with the project itself before I even knew the role I was going to play in that project. My name is Austin Kaluba, which I was supposed to do earlier on, so that protocol. I like breaking protocol because I look at so political and this stupid formal. I like being informal. I'm a veteran journalist. I left Times of Zambia as an editor, and I'm a creative, writer. I teach creative writing. I'm a poet. This project came at a time when I was writing poetry. I'm a bilingual writer in English and Bemba, and I do translations. I've done so many translations of Panochalo into English as Frown of the Great, and I've translated Kapwepwe's book, though it's not yet published, Afrika TwaSebana, the Heritage to Life. And this one, Afrika TwaSebana, which means Africa We Are Disgraced, is a sequel to that book. It's a very radical book. If you have read Franz Fanon's books, at that level, or Eldridge Cleaver's Saw on Ice, or Mutabaruka's poetry, Lyndon Quest Jones' England is a Beach, at that level. I've always been a radical, and I use art as a safeguard, to express myself. My journalism career was limited. Working for a government-owned paper, there were limitations. So I associate with artists who want to make social change. And the project, immediately I heard that, I said, oh, yeah, I'm for it. And I translated, I finished the other book translated in English, A Man, Not a Man and a Brother. It has a symbol of the anti-slavery symbol, which was used to fight against, slavery in the UK. I think William Wilberforce, you all know about that guy. And Christians and a number of people we have brought together. So colonialism, because most of the problems that we're having in Africa emanate from that background. Mm-hmm. So it's war to him who is trying to find a strategy without knowing where we're coming from. We are doomed. We are a very brainwashed race. Mm-hmm. We have been raped countless times, sodomized countless times. That other part, I do not want to hit what is coming on the 9th. So I translated 3 chapters from Afrika TwaSebana, very radical. And when I think I was asking Mulenga Kapwepwe to translate the whole book so that Zambians who don't understand Chivemba can have access. And the Pan-African society, the whole world, have to read that book. It is a very, confrontational book where Kapwepwe questions even this Christianity. So I translated those chapters, which we are working around, the other component of this project is about who we are, at the stage that we have reached and where we are going. You have seen of late in the Francophone countries, you have seen what is happening in these schools, and the raw materials that we have been selling, what those people are doing with them, and it's you young people. Maybe me, I've passed myself by date, after living half a century in this world, the life expectancy of Zambia, I don't know, who are bringing this change. When you are becoming older, you accept all this shit, you become conservative. It becomes normal. The youth, you see things which are wrong in the adult world. And you have to change this, especially you have a very safe platform as an artist, to change all these norms that women now are fighting for gender rights. Just to be a woman in a male-dominated world, you're in trouble. Just to be a foreigner, xenophobia. You know what is happening in South Africa. Just to be a black man in some societies. I've seen 2 niggers there, kill them. Just that, whether you have committed an offense. So there's so much work to do. So art is one of the safest platforms where you can challenge society, reflect it to itself. Politicians, you overrate them, they don't know anything. That's why some guys were saying, when Zambian theater, I don't know which artists are on that platform. One guy was trying to stand as, to stand as a councillor, saying, then he was reluctant. I said, why are you respecting? You can even vie for presidents. And you'll be Ronald Reagan was an actor. All those speeches they do, it's all about acting. They're all presidents. I've talked to so many politicians, regionally, internationally, and locally. They are not as intelligent as artists. It is the media that gives them this publicity and, you know, they are clowning in parliament. So this project, when it's exposed to everybody, I know Kapwepwe, is being, that's the few snippets of his writings. It's receiving a lot of massive intellectual attention than here. But again, it's the limitation of the language, Chibemba. Some people can't access. And even this Chibemba is a little bit difficult. But it is very confrontational. If you have read any book about how shabbily we have been treated by all these phases of slavery, colonialism, and neo-colonialism now, especially in the Francophone countries. Even Anglophonies, but it's worse in Francophone countries. They give you piecemeal independence, and they are still in charge. Sometimes they're even more in charge when at that stage than when they were visibly in the country. So it's a very important stage that we have to challenge who we are, the language we have adopted, religion. Christianity needs a lot of massive surgery because it's, you want to justify all this shit that you looked at Noah's nakedness. So what if he was drunk and he slept, he did it, and they justify it was he was of wood and drawers of water, all that shit. I'm Christian myself, but selective now. And I'm just telling you that. And what Papa is deafening our ears to say, severe the ties with ancestors. What have ancestors' peace done? Ask the fact of what have ancestors? Yes, thieving and fornicating man telling you in his long jacket and with rings and saying, don't severe ancestors' peace. It is you we should fear with stealing money from us and sleeping with our wives. So, but this is a religion that has been commercialized. And it was used squarely for slavery. All these atrocities.
Yes.
Yes. That a black man, I will tell God that you can't put any black man in hell, please. Yeah, this shit in the where is coming from? You can't. If there's hell and they're using the yardstick, which me as a convict should understand, you can't use that. No, they use a lot of scaring language. No, it's demonic. I remember I was challenging one pastor who named one of my sisters. I said Exodus. I said, what is this fucking name? Exodus, no. Then he said, it's not you speaking. I said, who is speaking? He said, demon. I said, well, have you seen it? It's you as a demon you are stealing from your... We ended up near the feast. There was a feast fight. I said, it's me speaking. That's you are the people are saying there's a spiritual wife. Or a spiritual husband. When did the husband come to sleep with the spiritual? But they have crammed all this shit in our head. Eh? So there's a lot to challenge. That's why Kagame has banned some of the Pentecostal church. You have to explain what you are preaching. Yeah. So it is open to scrutiny. To say, is this biblical? Just want to justify stealing money and sleeping with other people's wives or whatever. So these are radical projects that we need to challenge even the academia. I'm doing my master's in law and I'm going to change to nativize this legal system. This is English law. Right. That's why I should respect Muslims who are challenging, who are questioning them to counter this English law with Sharia law. Whether, no matter how radical, even when you say radical, who told us that what is radical and what is terrorist? So there are so many things that we should do. And it's not just about being confrontation. I've met people who are locals, who are also as bad as these colonialists. Some of them who are worse. So let's not associate with the oppression with white and that our black brothers have also done a lot of harm to us. So we have to challenge them to say the things we are following, and it's very selective. If you go to parliament, sometimes I just go to the garage and look at the circus that is going on. What they are debating, sharing ignorance publicly and say, forgive them, Lord. So as artists, we have that role. Then again, we should not blame again the white man all the time. Some of the problems is us. They have given us these books about the role that we played, even in slavery. Some of the slaves were sold by our own chiefs, you know. Chitimukulu was reluctant to end slavery because he was benefiting from it. Some Parakasha was there when they were not, those people were coming. Some were captured, those were committed some offenses and they were sold into slavery. Let's acknowledge that part so that we know where we are. Again, this we blame game also is not very good. But again, where the blame game, where someone is guilty, it will help us to revisit, to be born again politically, and know where we are going. Otherwise, we are culturally lost. We don't know, we're at a crossroad. There are so many paths. And there's an avalanche of information from here, from there, from religion, from modernity. We don't know who we are. So, this is the project I felt I should be part of it. and it has to be very radical. That's why I thought maybe someone told you to remove the other part which will come as a climax. I was going to challenge you to say don't. I wasn't even going to come because that is, it has to be to challenge.
Yes, well,
yeah, because that's art. Yes, because the people won't act. Yeah, if you don't challenge them. But it's like if the law, they don't, there's no sanction for murder. People will be killing each other, but they know when you kill another person, even if they don't hang you, they're gonna keep you for eternity somewhere. So I'm happy that that is still going on, on 29, the climax of this project, so that we know where we are. Just one component of the intervention that we should do as artists. True art to me, you should create some change. Not maybe physical change, but just people to make them think. Because true learning is about unlearning. If you tell your son, this is a dog, till he comes out of the house, he'll believe you. It's, no, this is not a dog, this is a table. But that's the information that we have. Through ecclesiastical institutions, through traditional, this is diluted traditional chiefs. They are also part of the problem now. They don't deserve respect. Even these people insist to be called honorable from that parliament. No, they have to justify that name. And the artist has a bigger role. If you know now how Bob Marley is being revered there, he has been deified. That One Love film, on that some people have misgivings about. They are just talking about the love message. They're not talking about the radical message that he had there. Again, another artist has to challenge that. Mutabaruka is busy. If you go and Google, he's saying Bob Marley did not just think about love. He talked about also revolution, violent revolution, and one of is now receiving academic attention, which academicians who think they are very intelligent, they insist on being called doctor or philosopher or professors, they never even went halfway to that knowledge. Any Pan-African society, Bob Marley has to be relevant. But which books they want us to read about, justifying capitalism by Adam Smith, justifying even colonialism, justifying even the oppression of a black person, that he should not resist when he's being attacked. Like that joke when this, someone was holding someone's son, then he had a knife, he wanted to prick his eyes. He said, don't dodge, the boy will cry. So he was just stop doing the eyes. That's what they want us to do. Bob Marley said, one quote, you refuse to be what you wanted us to be. Yes.
He's going to show me a sculpture of a missionary or a colonizer who has been erected with his servants. Where have you seen one?
And when they were taken to Europe, there's another story that has been said. They were fated in these high classes. You know what supplies them? It did something to demystify this savage image. The English world, during the Victorian period, that was the apex of these colonial, things that have solidified now, classified as culture. They said these savages carried the Livingstone from this point to
Chitambo.
Yes, they were surprised. They said they embalmed him. They said, what did they use to embalm him? They said their own local stuff.
Yeah.
Said, it's not possible. They said, here he is in Westminster, intact.
Yeah.
And they walked from this distance, so they started now respecting the savages as human beings. So it demystified the stereotype that they had before, that these people were human heart, because at that time, mind you, it was even futile to evangelize to a black man. They said, you have no soul. So what is going to be saved? The Book of Mormon says you can't evangelize to blacks. They have no soul. Like you can't evangelize to a monkey or a goat. There's no soul. Now, when they realized where the Livingstone was taken by the savages and brought to a ship, and they realized this is not our friend. It was our vessel, accepted as a friend. That humanness, it demystified, I think it was 100% of those stereotypes, pushed them to 55. When they fed them and they gave them sorts of costume, and they were talking normally, through interpreters, and they said, maybe the books we have read are wrong. Yes, a savage can't do this. He takes out the innards, bad them because they make the body to be easy to embalm. Yeah. Then they embalm the body, it comes intact Westminster Bay. These are not savages. So we need all that.
Yeah, to the sense.
Yes.
Embalming.
There's actually a manuscript that's been written by one of the 59, Jacob Wilmot, that he had been educated in India, so I tried to get the hand on this manuscript. I think it was published in 2022. So I'd like to see the lens that he uses to do the writing of the journey to this.
Isaac's installation, he hasn't mentioned that, is titled Dredge or
Teach for the future. So
So
basically,
when
I
we
tried
saw
to do.
Livingstone, I hear apparently, I don't know how true this is, I just heard it like in passing, people were chatting about it. But apparently instead of him converting, the Bemba people converted him
Yes, so he didn't manage to
into
convert
their belief
anybody.
system.
There's also a story about how he died, that it wasn't dysentery, but that it was instead a traditional sort of a witchcraft, so to speak, witchcraft gun.
Cast a spell on him.
And there's a story around a song that goes in explaining that at Shamwi Kalenson, because he had his eyes on the famous hunter's wife in Chitambo. And so the hunter fixed him. That's how he got it.
Traditional way.
Right.
I wish I could get that
Right.
serious.
Right.
There is a question, yes?
Yeah, I wanted to add to what you said about when they transported Livingstone's body and then the other white people saw like, oh my gosh, these Africans actually know a thing or two. I don't think they never knew. I think they just refused to acknowledge our humanity. And it's something that continues to today. And so we should not fall asleep and say, oh, now white people see us as humans. They really don't.
No, they don't, but at least it helped me. At that time, it was at the peak. That
Yes,
at least they came to evangelize, meaning they thought that we have been so. But at that peak, it was a futile to even evangelize. The reason had to argue hard to say, I want to preach to Africa. They said, these are savages, we have no sort of time. But I'm not saying it was 100% a rate of those stereotypes, but it helped. Some of them were still misgivings, but it helped to just, they were touched by the distance it took from Chitambo Mission to the coast and going up to England.
And there was no road.
Yes, and Queen Victoria, mind you, this is where this stereotype about the blacks was spiked, that the evolution evolved from monkeys. It is during that period. So you have to trace where these things came from. We might blame this generation not knowing that it's out of ignorance. So if we don't address the genesis of this problem, it will be very difficult. Even some of the problems that Sita was talking about, the people don't even condemn the people who are perpetrating this in your colonialism. They don't know. If they knew all this information, maybe the information is power. But what information again? It must be things that unlearn. There are so many things to unlearn. About 98% that I'm reading now is unlearning what I believed in. So maybe we should forgive them that it was not deliberate. Some of them is out of ignorance. When they ask you,
I disagree though. I think it was very deliberate the way they portrayed us Africans when they're writing their journals. Because a lot of things that the Western world knew about us is based on what these people wrote, the missionaries and everything, and how they described us. They met us, welcomed them, they knew what we could do. They were doing C-sections before Caesar knew what that was.